Welcome back to the Fullerton College Print 101 class. This is the last, I swear, I promise, I'm going to quit this time for real, guys. The last video of Chapter 2, Health and Safety. So we're talking about noise and how it can damage your hearing permanently and how I think I've done it. I've done it to myself a little bit. Also, anyone who has kids might notice that when little babies scream your face off, I'm pretty sure your hearing goes. And that might be why people who've had kids always seem to be hard of hearing in their older years. Anyways, I'm understanding my parents better and better as I have kids. The noise is a thing. You want to make sure you're not exposed to it constantly. It's bad for you in ways more than just damaging your hearing, but psychologically it's bad to be exposed to loud noises all the time. You should wear hearing protection when possible if you're going to be next to something. Anyways, you want to stay below 90 decibels at all times. Even that is really annoying to be around 90 decibels all day long. A lawnmower is about 95 decibels, just as a thing to think about. And it's right around being shouted at is 90 decibels. All right. And just about lastly, we'll talk about waste, because waste is an environmental concern, and that is also part of safety and health. All printing produces waste. All manufacture produces waste. Printing is no different. We have a bunch of different types of waste that we make as an industry. We're looking at things such as, well, obviously paper waste, cut up paper, bits that get trimmed off of final projects. Things when you produce a book and you cut off the edges to make the pages straight. If you die cut things out, there's all this paper that doesn't get used. That is all waste. There's also chemical waste from plate making chemicals and leftover fountain solution, leftover inks. There are all sorts of things like that. There are air emissions that are given off. Some inks that are heat set, or some of those volatile organic compounds give off of air waste. And that's not great either. It's always the goal to minimize waste, not only for the environment, but because the less waste you have, the more efficient you are being. There's a thing that might show up in some of your quizzes and things, so I'll talk about it, even though I've never seen one in the wild. And that is the Electrolytic Recirculating Silver Recovery Unit, because pouring waste silver, although yes, it's a precious metal, and yes, it's something you can safely eat off of, it's not a good thing to put into wastewater. It also has something to do with mercury, I'm sure. But there is a system that can help lower the amount of silver that your company or your print shop is dumping into local water supplies. And that's a good thing. Metal and water is not a great place. Water and metal, we're talking like a cup. Other way around, actually it's kind of poisonous. So, almost lastly, let's talk about UV cured inks. At the time of publishing, they were a new thing and considered to be a potentially less dangerous option, because UV cured inks don't require the same types of solvents. They have their own though. The idea being you can use a UV light and it will make a liquid ink dry. We have a system like this in our lab on campus that does large posters and prints on all sorts of fun substrates like glass and steel and plywood. And it cures with a UV lamp, so it doesn't have drying time and it doesn't give off the normal volatile organic compounds of an ink with a solvent inside it. However, this is going off of the book here in a minute on to personal experience. The inks and the solvents involved in UV cure, although they seem like a bit of a magical fix to some of the problems of other inks and other types of chemical hazards, present their own chemical hazards. Specifically, the solvent for UV cured inks is extremely powerful and seems to mess with you psychoactively slightly. I'm not saying you get high off of it. What I'm saying is it seems to mess up your taste buds and your sense of smell. It has a very distinctive smell. You'll always know if someone's operating UV cured ink. I walk by places and I know what kind of press they're using by the smells. And yeah, not that you can go to them right now, but both of the major theme parks in Orange County operate UV printers in different parts. Disney uses them to print on custom cell phone cases you can purchase. And there's a sign shop in the ghost town at Knott's. Both of them, I walked by, went sniff, and then talked to the people running them and asked if I could see their press, because I knew they were running an EFI brand press by the smell of the ink. Anyways, partial personal experience, partial anecdotes from people I've worked with who use these machines more. It messes with your sense of smell and taste if you're around them too much. And that can't be a good thing. I know that one time I was eating dinner and staying on campus late to get some stuff printed on the big UV printer. And after a while, I noticed that my Dr. Pepper that I was drinking started to taste a heck of a lot like solvent. It was in a sealed cup with a straw, and it wasn't right next to the printer. But being around those inks and solvents for extended periods of time does tend to get you. And I heard from a different person who was one of the EFI maintenance guys that if you go to a trade show that does nothing but promote these printers, after a weekend of trade show, you can't taste anything anymore. And he was saying that he didn't like the taste of beer. And that was weird because he loved beer. For the record, I'm not promoting beer here. But the point is, if it throws off your taste buds, it's probably not great for you, is it? One last note that I don't have pictures for that you might scoff at but can cause you real problems. Ergonomics. Stuff that your parents will thwack your wrist for about sitting up straight and not slouching actually matters. The better your sitting posture, the better you are at looking straight in your computer monitor instead of having it down or up where you have to bend your neck, the longer you can safely operate these devices. I know it seems silly. It's very much like an office episode where they're trying to talk about how dangerous it is to work in an office versus working down in the warehouse where all the cool things are. But honestly, you can develop a bad back and other joint problems from sitting too long in the wrong postures. So sitting up straight where your thighs are parallel to the ground and your calves are perpendicular to the ground, so your legs are straight up and down and your back is straight. These are important things. Also, because it's in green text in your book and it may appear on a quiz somewhere, ergonomics is the science of fitting the worker to the job. That's it for chapter 2. Thanks for listening to my health and safety one. Hope you guys are staying healthy and safe.